In the small, foggy town of Blackwood, where the streets were narrow and the lampposts flickered dimly, there lived a retired detective named Victor Graves. Victor had spent his younger years solving some of the most baffling cases in the city, but now, in his late 50s, he had settled into a quiet life in his childhood hometown. That was until one chilly October evening, when the clock struck midnight, and his peaceful life was interrupted by a series of mysterious messages. It began with a knock on his door. Victor, who was reading by the fireplace, frowned. Who could be visiting at this hour? He opened the door to find no one there, but on his doorstep lay a small sealed envelope. The paper was crisp, and the handwriting on the front was elegant yet unfamiliar. It simply read, "To Victor Graves. Midnight holds the truth." Intrigued, Victor opened the envelope. Inside was a single sheet of paper with a cryptic message: "The first clue lies where the past sleeps. Find me before the clock strikes thrice." Victor's curiosity was piqued. He hadn't worked on a case in years, but the thrill of a mystery was too tempting to resist. The next night, at exactly midnight, another envelope appeared on his doorstep. This time, the message read, "The second clue is where the river weeps. Time is running out." Victor knew the town well. The river that weeps could only refer to Blackwood Creek, a small stream that ran through the town and was said to be haunted by the ghost of a woman who had drowned there decades ago. Victor grabbed his coat and lantern and headed to the creek. The fog was thick, and the only sound was the soft gurgle of the water. As he searched the banks, he found a small rusted key, half buried in the mud. Attached to it was a note: "The final clue awaits where the bells no longer chime." Victor's mind raced. The only place in Blackwood where bells no longer chimed was the old church on the hill. It had been abandoned for years after a fire had destroyed part of the building. The clock tower, once a proud landmark, had fallen silent ever since. The following night, Victor made his way to the church. The moon was full, casting an eerie glow over the crumbling structure. As he approached the clock tower, he noticed a small hidden compartment at its base. Using the rusted key, he unlocked it and found a final message: "The truth lies within the grave of the forgotten." Victor's heart pounded. He knew exactly where to go. On the outskirts of town was an old, neglected cemetery where the town's earliest settlers were buried. Among them was a grave marked only with the initials E.W. Eleanor Whitaker, a woman who had disappeared under mysterious circumstances over a century ago. Victor dug carefully around the grave until his shovel hit something solid. It was a small metal box. Inside, he found a stack of letters, a faded photograph of a young woman, and a journal. The journal belonged to Eleanor Whitaker, and it detailed her life, her struggles, and her untimely end. She had been betrayed by someone she trusted, and her story had been buried with her. As Victor read through the journal, he realized that the messages he had received were not just a game, they were a plea for justice. Someone had wanted Eleanor's story to be told, and they had chosen Victor to uncover the truth. The next morning, Victor shared his findings with the town. The mystery of Eleanor Whitaker was finally solved, and her name was cleared. As for the messages at midnight, no one ever discovered who had sent them. Some said it was Eleanor's ghost, seeking closure. Others believed it was a descendant, keeping her memory alive. Victor returned to his quiet life, but he often found himself glancing at the clock as it neared midnight, wondering if another mystery would come knocking at his door.